In our headlines this morning, market leaders and tax collectors cautioned against diverting government revenue. The Anglican Bishop of Awka Diocese, Right Reverend Alexander Ibezim, urges fathers to be exemplary in their conduct to build a better family. 11 universities is to benefit from federal government's grant of 84 million naira. On the foreign scene, one American service member killed and 2 others wounded in gun attack at Takrintok Airport, Uruzgan. Good morning and thanks for joining us on the news. My name is Nonye Nwokoye. The state government has warned market leaders and tax collectors against illegal revenue collectors and diversion of government funds into private pockets, as anyone caught will be decisively dealt with. The State Commissioner for Trade, Commerce and Industry, Dr. Christian Madubuko, gave the warning during a meeting with heads and some members of the Bridgehead Market, Onitsha, over an allegation leveled against the market chairman by some members. Correspondent Emmanuel Okonkwo was among the commissioner's entourage and bring out this report.
The state government has warned market leaders and tax collectors against illegal revenue collections and diversion of government funds into private pockets, as anyone caught will be decisively dealt with. The State Commissioner for Trade, Commerce and Industry, Dr. Christian Madubuko, gave the warning at a meeting with heads and market leaders of the Bridgehead Market, Onitsha, over an allegation leveled against the market chairman by some members. The allegations, which include producing of fake tickets and receipts, inability to work with the financial secretary for accountability, autocratic form of leadership, among others. The chairman, however, debunked all allegations and was supported by a majority of the members at the meeting. Addressing the meeting, Commissioner Madubuko said that his ministry will thoroughly investigate the issues of fake tickets and multiple taxation, among others, warning that anyone found guilty will face the full wrath of the law, adding that the present administration will not spare anyone that indulges in such dubious acts, no matter the personality involved. Dr. Madubuko, while emphasizing the need for love and unity amongst the traders, ordered for withdrawal of any existing court suit filed by the marketers against each other, assuring them that his office will settle those cases.
My warning to marketers, particularly revenue thieves, those who collect revenue on behalf of government without government authorization, they should desist from that act, because government this time will leave no stone unturned in trying to fish out the perpetrators of this bad act.
Responding, the chairman, Mr. Sunday Obinze, who debunked the allegations, appealed to the commissioner to investigate more into the issues, saying that after the investigation and he is found wanting, that he is ready to bear the consequences, and called on the state government to help them identify the authentic receipts, as all the receipts and tickets his administration uses presently are those inherited from the predecessors.
I said it before the governor that they should tell us the authentic tickets in a meeting we had with him. I want the government to sanitize the issue about tickets. Let them tell us the authentic tickets that we can pay.
Registering their grievances, some of the traders, including Chief Emeka Uchendo, Mr. Wilfred Ezike, Chief Emmanuel Edochie, and Chief Innocent Ezoha, thanked the commissioner for the visit and called for attitudinal change by both members and the executives of the market for peace to reign. From Bridgehead Market, Onitsha, I am Emmanuel Okonkwo, reporting for ABS News.
Thanks, Emmanuel. Fathers have been charged to live up to the responsibility of catering, protecting and safeguarding their families so as to have a peaceful society. Over to our studios where Amaka Chibuzo Okoye's report is taken from.
Fathers in the Anglican Communion, Diocese of Awka, today celebrate Father's Sunday. The day was set aside to respect, honor and shower fathers with best wishes as the head of families, and families equally use the day to present gifts, show love and concern, as well as pray for their fathers. In all the churches visited, fathers took the center stage of the church activities as pastors and people's warden, among others. In his sermon to mark the day, the Bishop of Awka Diocese, Right Reverend Alexander Ibezim, asked the fathers to be the leaders of Bible study and corporate prayers in their families holding firm on the word of God, which will help them raise godly families. He charged them to be alive to their responsibilities and never to be afraid of life challenges. Right Reverend Ibezim, who described the family as a unit, encouraged families to always pray for their fathers, advising the fathers to love their wives, who in return should respect them.
Both husband and wife, they are the parent of the children. And so the family is a unit. And so celebrating Father's Sunday is a reminder to the man that he has a role to play. And so it is also an opportunity for the family to pray for the head of the family.
The vicar, Church of the Pentecost Oka, Reverend Canon Ifeanyi Emagwa, who centered his sermon on the responsibility of the fathers, called on them to love their families and live according to God's directive. Also, at St. Joseph Anglican Church, GRA Oka, the priest in residence, Reverend Nzubechukwu Obiajamba, lamented the increase in divorce and single parenthood being witnessed in the society today, stating that God does not believe in such, and noted that any home where there is no father is headless. Some of the fathers who spoke to ABS are Professor Clifford Nwanna, Sir Joseph Nwabadolu, Sir Lawrence Ikako, and Nwabufo Nwankwo, said fathers should root their family in Christ, live life worthy of emulation, and ensure they protect, lead, and provide for their home.
Today is our day, and we have already received blessings from God. I believe in no time from now there will be testimonies.
Ọ ga-awa ọnụ na-ekwuru ezinụlọ ụlọ ya bụrụ anya ezinụlọ ụlọ ya ji afụ ụzọ.
Prayers for the fathers by Bishop Ibezim, Bible citation, music renditions, and thanksgiving form the high point of the service.
Congratulations to our fathers there. Engaging in social vices will spell doom for teenagers. The president, Okada Assistant Mothers Union, Women Guild, and Girls Guild, Mrs. Martha Chioma Ibezim, stated this while delivering her presidential address at the 32nd Oka Diocesan Women's Conference. A religious correspondent, Amaka Chibuzoko's report is taken once again from our studios.
The President, Oka Diocesan Mothers Union, Women's Guild, and Girls Guild, Mrs. Martha Chioma Ibezim, has appealed to governments, parents, teachers, and guardians to discourage teenagers from engaging in social vices that will mar their future. Mrs. Ibezim made the appeal while delivering her presidential address at the 32nd Oka Diocesan Women's Conference held at St. Mark's Anglican Church, Omawolo, in Oka South Local Government Council. The 2018 ad hoc with the theme for We Walk by Faith, Not by Sight attracted wives of bishops, delegates within and outside the diocese, traditional rulers, businessmen, Anglican faithful, among others. The president of the Mothers Union, Mrs. Martha Ibezim, who is the wife of the Anglican Bishop of Oka, Right Reverend Alexander Ibezim, lamented the increase in gambling and betting amongst school children who at times use their school fees to bet. She applauded Governor Obiano for his efforts at developing all sectors of the state economy, especially by taking the agricultural sector to greater heights, adding that Chief Mrs. Ebelechukwu Obiano, through her pet project, Cafe, has shown kindness to the indigent, disabled, and the destitute in the society. Mrs. Ibezim highlighted the achievements of the women ministry in the diocese to include their faith projects, Mary Sumner Vocational Institute Oka, Queen's Convent Oka, Amanwai Vocational Institute Mbauku, among others, which according to her are growing and developing rapidly. On the theme of the conference, she opined that walking by faith opens the spiritual eyes to see God supernaturally intervening in all circumstances, stating that God is calling on Christians daily to be expectant of his interventions in their affairs.
We welcome you all to this conference 2018 in the name of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. May your presence be a blessing to us and bring down inexpressible joy to your life in Jesus' name. Our state capital and state levels can be seen that accelerated proliferation of sport betting shops. If the government did not rise up to, address this issue of betting centers, especially close to our primary schools and secondary schools, it may ruin the life of our youth.
For the chairman 2018 Adwork Planning Committee, Dr. Ima Ezenwaji, who is an indigene of the community, the 4 days of spiritual meeting has brought light to the community and drawn souls to serve Christ. Also speaking, evangelist Reginald Okbala, who single-handedly built the hall for the conference, thanked God for the success of the event and called on the elite to contribute to the propagation of the gospel and work for the development of their communities, as well as help the needy in their midst.
What I have to tell to my people, the Omaolo people, is to turn their face to God and use what the Lord has given to them to work for humanity.
Presentation of gifts to the bishop's wife by the women, hymns and prayers added glamour to the conference.
The state has been commended for her hospitality and concern towards the National Youth Service Corps members serving in the state. The state director of the Corps, Mr. Aremu Kehinde, gave the commendation when he paid a familiarization tour to the state chapter of the Nigerian Union of Journalists. Amaka Chibuzo Okoye again brings us details.
The state coordinator of the National Youth Service Corps, NYSC, Mr. Aremu Kehinde, has commended the Anambra for the honor, peace, and adequate security Corps members enjoy in their state. He made this known when he led the NYSC executive on a courtesy visit to the Nigerian Union of Journalists, NUJ, Anambra State Chapter, at the Godwin Ezemo International Press Center, Awka. During the visit, Mr. Kehinde extolled the state government for recognizing the 2016 Batch B Corps members who have distinguished themselves in the state throughout their NYSC scheme, noting that despite the wanton killings in some parts of the country, Anambra has remained the safest state. He further described Anambra as enterprising, survivalist, and resilient state, charging them to maintain the momentum, even as he commended the NUJ for their professionalism, which has shown in their reportage, charging them to keep the tempo.
I can see faces of people that come out to the event of the conferment of award on all members by the Anambra State Government, from South, from Southwest, North Central, and other places. We needed to hear what these corps members were saying about Anambra State. We needed to hear what these corps members did within Anambra State. We get to hear how these corps members sang the Anambra anthem with passion. They were so passionate about singing it.
Responding, the state chairman NUJ, Comrade Ima Ife Snachi, who assured that the relationship that have existed between the union and NYSC would be sustained, thanked Governor Willie Obiano for taking the security of the state as his primary responsibility, and promised maximum cooperation and solidarity between the union and NYSC in the state. Comrade Ife Snachi also called on government at all levels to protect the lives and properties of the citizens of Nigeria, which will result to peace and development.
Anambra is one state that occasionally gives employment to adjourn press conference in the year. And I want to assure you of the maximum cooperation and solidarity of members of this union.
Presentation of journals to the NUJ chairman formed the high point of the courtesy visit.
The need for Anambra in the diaspora to partner the state government in a drive to tap and market the tourism potentials of the state has been stressed. The Commissioner for Diaspora Affairs, Indigenous Artworks, Culture and Tourism, Mrs. Sally Mbanefo, indicated this at a grand reception for Anambra-born Miss Africa World, Queen Uche Umaguku. David Okwasele has more on this report.
The Anambra in the diaspora have been urged to partner the state government in her drive to tap and market the tourism potentials of the state. The Commissioner for Diaspora Affairs, Indigenous Artworks, Culture and Tourism, Mrs. Salim Banefo, made the call at the grand reception for Anambra-born Miss Africa World, Queen Uche Umaguku. Queen Umaguku, an indigene of Oga in Agwata local government area, is the reigning queen of the California, USA-based Miss Africa World Beauty Pageantry and a champion of the campaign to grant out-of-school children access to education. In an address of welcome, the Tourism and Culture Commissioner described Anambra State as a hub of tourism and stated that that is the reason the present administration is doing everything possible to ensure it develops all its tourism centers to meet international standards, saying that a successful partnership with diaspora investors will help push the industry to an international audience. Mrs. Mbanefu said the Golden Tulip Hotel, Aglo-Lake, which is in the final phase of furnishing, and the Welezukala waterfalls and caves that is now being reconstructed to create easier access to tourists, are some of the projects being prioritized by the present administration to kickstart its unparalleled boost of the tourism industry in the state.
Anambra State is the safest state in Nigeria. Anambra State has been ranked top of the list for transparency in governance. Anambra has produced amazing intellectual assets.
On his part, the Commissioner for Youth Empowerment and Creative Economy, Mr. Bonaventure Nemali, who welcomed the Miss Africa Award with lots of pride, called on youths in the state to tap into the safe space created by the Willie Obiano administration to maximize their potentials.
And we encourage the entire Anambra youth to be more serious and resilient in all we do, to take advantage of the space that His Excellency Chief Dr. Willie Obiano has given to us, to take charge of our own.
Responding, Queen Umagu, who are thanking the state government for granting her the opportunity, said youth must claim their place in moving the state forward, especially in the area of marketing the state's tourism and cultural potentials, informing the gathering that she is using her contact to attract investors to the state and extend her campaign to feed hungry children in the state.
I'm asking His Excellency to help me and support me to locate children here in Anambra State that don't want to go to school, maybe based on school fees or any other situation, that I will personally send the child back to school.
Presentation of awards of recognition to Anambra in California, the mayor of the city of Los Angeles, and to Queen Uche Umagu, as well as cultural dance presentation by the Anambra Cultural Troupe, formed the high points of the grand reception. From Jerome Udoji Secretariat in Oka, I am David Obokwase reporting for ABS News.
11 universities will benefit from the federal government-approved grant disbursement of 84 million naira for research collaboration. The funds spread amongst the tertiary institutions is basically for geological mapping, mining engineering and materials, metallurgical engineering. Acting Minister of Mines and Steel Development, Honorable Abubakar Buhari, stated that current administration has made data generation, retrieval and storage a priority with huge investment, while presenting letters of participation in research development to representatives of the universities. The beneficiary institutions include Obafemi Awolowo University, OAU Ile-Ife, Federal University of Technology, Minna, University of Nigeria, Nsukka, Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria, and Ibrahim Babangida University, Niger State, with 9 million naira, and others are University of Port Harcourt, University of Jos, University of Lagos, University of Ibadan, Nasarawa State University, and Ebonyi State University, Abakaliki, with 6.5 million naira. He explained that the 84 million naira is being shared by 11 universities today for research development in various areas relating to mapping and evaluation of particular mineral deposits, will no doubt increase the fountain of geoscience data available to investors. Honorable Buhari, however, expressed hope that it will impact on the students and lecturers that will be involved in the field work so that the quality of learning in our schools will continue to be improved upon. One American service member was killed and 2 others were wounded in the U.S.-led coalition described as an apparent insider attack. Reports said that the attack took place at Tarin Court Airport in the southern province of Uruzgan and was carried out by a member of the Afghan security forces. The Taliban did not claim responsibility for the attack, but acknowledged it in a message on its official Telegram channel. It was not immediately clear what became of the shooter. The The coalition said the deceased will not be identified publicly for 24 hours in order to give officials time to notify next of kin. The Taliban have been battling U.S.-led NATO forces in an attempt to restore their version of strict Islamic law in the country after being toppled by a U.S.-led campaign in 2001. Efforts to impose a ceasefire in the region have been mostly unsuccessful. Last year, the United States added thousands of additional troops to its forces in Afghanistan, which are engaged in both training and advising Afghan forces and conducting counter-terrorist missions against Islamic State and other militant groups. Afghan units suffer more heavily than coalition units from insider attacks. As reports said, there were 47 so-called green-on-green attacks or incidents where Afghan soldiers turn on their own side so far this year. The late barrister Leonard Chukwudi Akolisa has been committed to Mother Earth at his country home, Mbarabaka Village, Ihiala local government area of the state. Our correspondent Kenechukwu Chukwudi has details of that report.
All tears, grief and eulogies as the late barrister Leonard Chukwudi Akolisa was committed to Mother Earth at his country home, Mbarabaka Village, Ihiala local government area of the state. The environment was moody and atmosphere solemn as the 53-year-old late barrister Akolisa began his journey to his final resting place. In a sermon at the burial service held at the family compound at Mbarabaka Ihiala, priest Venerable Uzo Amuta Igwe reminded Christians of the vanity of life on earth as man came into the world with nothing and leaves it with nothing other than the life he lived and his relationship with God, his creator.
The only thing that will matter was he so you have to be careful with grief because you are living here with nothing.
For the daughter of the deceased, who was overwhelmed with emotions as she spoke to the ABS, Miss Ogechukwu Akolisa, her father was a nice and hardworking man who loved and cared for his family and those around him, noting that he will be greatly missed. In their remarks, siblings to the deceased, Mr. Johnson Eriobuna and Miss Ngozi Eriobuna, noted that it was shocking to hear the news of Leonard's death as he was quiet, hardworking, family and community man who used every means at his disposal to make an impact on the life of those around him.
Somebody that doesn't have any problem with anybody. That is a nice man. He's a very good somebody who can advise you, very educated. I senior him, but he was my senior in secondary school. God, our helping God, Europa, let him grant eternal rest.
Very humble and loving He's a very quiet person.
In their various remarks, the chairman, Nigerian Union of Journalists, Anambra State Chapter, Mr. Emmanuel Ifesnachi, and the State Director, National Orientation Agency, Mr. Charles Ngoji, who both noted that the late Akolisa meritoriously served the two agencies with all dedication and friendly disposition, urged all to live a positive and service-inspired life. The late barrister Akolisa was said to have contributed over 400 articles and commentaries to radio stations, including the ABS. Interment hymn renditions, condolence visits by family, friends, and well-wishers who came from far and wide formed the high points of the event.
We pray God to give the family the fortitude to bear this loss. And that concludes the news. But just before we go, remember that you can follow news and programs on ABS from any part of the world by logging on to our website, www.absradiotv.com. Follow us on Facebook at www.facebook.com/absradiotv. And follow us on Twitter and Instagram at ABS Radio TV. The main points of the news once again: market leaders and tax collectors cautioned against diverting government revenue. The Commissioner for Trade, Commerce and Industry, Dr. Christian Madubuko, stated this at a meeting with the heads and market leaders at Bridgehead Market, Onitsha. The Anglican Bishop of Awka Diocese, Right Reverend Alexander Ibezim, urges fathers to be exemplary in their conduct to build a better family. Bishop Ibezim said this at the Cathedral Church of St. Faith, Awka, during Father's Sunday. 11 universities is to benefit from federal government's grant of 84 million naira. And from the foreign scene, we brought you a report that one American service member has been killed and 2 others wounded in gun attack at Tarin Court Airport, Uruzgan. And that's the news. Thank you so much for your time. My name is Nonye Nwokoye. Do have a blessed Monday. Good morning, Anambra continues.